Hey guys, welcome back. I'm top music attorney, Miss Krystle, and this is the Top Music Attorney podcast, the place where you learn about everything having to do with the music business, entertainment business, and how to stay legally protected every Tuesday and Friday at 7 p.m. p.s.t. In today's show, we're going to be talking about some newsy things. We have Will Smith, who released an emotional apology video today. It is a follow-up to an apology that he's already given. I definitely have some thoughts on this. We're talking about Kelis. So Beyoncé dropped her record, which we'll do in our New Music Friday segment, but in Beyonce's record, there's a song which, kind of remakes Kelis's very famous Milkshake song, and Kelis is really upset. And we have video that we're going to watch that she posted talking about why she's upset, specifically with, Neptunes, Pharrell Williams, Chad Hugo, and while she keeps saying she's not really upset with Beyonce, she's upset with Beyonce. So we're going to talk about all that. I have a record label tip for you, New Music Friday, and of course, before we get into the intro, as you guys are kind of filing into the chat, hello. Just an update. So for the record label course, we have now only 7 spots left. I'm running a very special campaign. For those of you who've been waiting to get in, once we hit 100 students, I'm closing enrollment to the record label course. Right now, I have an insanely amazing discount of 50% off. And it's just because I want, for those of you who've been waiting, I want you to have the ability to get this. The course is incredible. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but it's all the contracts that you need to stay legally protected. I'm teaching you everything about trademarks, copyrights, running the record label, distribution, sync licensing, representing artists, and how to negotiate your contracts. So it's amazing. I'll be sure to link it down below. If it's not already there, we will by the end of the show. But in any case, welcome in. Be sure to leave your comments as you are filing in. We're going to run the intro, and I will be right back. Hi guys, I'm top music attorney Miss Krystle. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and creator of the Top Music Attorney School for artists and record labels. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent artist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss my weekly videos giving you my best tips on the music business, industry news updates, and teaching you how to stay legally protected. Let's go. Hey, welcome everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe. It helps this community to grow and to let YouTube know that it's good content. You guys are enjoying what you're seeing. And of course, share it out. If you share on Facebook or basically any platform, it helps us a lot, including during the live stream. So if you want to do a share, go ahead. Hello, everybody. I'm glad you're doing good. The dancing after the... Wait, what? The dancing at the after party is just ugh. Who's dancing and why is it ugh? All right. Yeah, so today was kind of exciting. We have all kinds of things happening in the actual, entertainment field and music business that we're going to be talking about. But in my world, we released Middle of the Night. And so I've been leading up to this and kind of teasing you guys and doing live performances, singing the song. But today the song officially came out. So if you want to check it out, just search Miss Krystle on all music platforms. And that Orko is going to be kind of reviewing it a little bit as part of the New Music Friday segment. And so you'll have a chance to kind of listen to it at that point. Where are you guys checking in from and how you doing? All right, I see the comments. Yes, thank you very much for those of you who do take a second just to like the video. Whatever platform you're watching it on is fantastic, and I appreciate it. For those of you specifically who come over to Top Music Attorney on YouTube and subscribe here, this is our home base. This is our little community, so I appreciate everybody. All right, Mark on Facebook. It's great for someone who does not know the business to have someone like you teach. Yes, call me Professor Miss Krystle. Yeah, but that's kind of why I put together my record label course. It's because, I'm just at capacity with my law firm. We represent a lot of labels. I do this every day as far as building labels and getting them to 6 figures and making sure they're super successful. And so I put together a course so that, basically label owners can get the same value, which I've told you guys and just been super honest. I mean, our clients pay like $7,000 to get everything that comes with the course. And normally the course is like $997. For the next now only a week and some change, it's 50% off. So if you want to get it, it's just like ridiculously cheap. So there's only 7 spots left. Yes, we have Will Smith. His video that he posted today already has like over 1 million views on it. I so have thoughts about this, and I definitely want to get your guys' thoughts too. So stay tuned on that, and we'll watch it together. So if you haven't seen it yet, that's okay. We're going to play the whole thing and watch it together. Los Angeles. What was that? Portland? Hey! Thank you for being here. Yes, so, other than the middle of the night release today, which I'm very excited about, we'll be doing like a video release on Miss Krystle YouTube. It's going to be a whole thing. We also did a little sing along yesterday. So I do like a live stream on Thursdays on Miss Krystle Instagram, where I just use the excuse to practice my songs and sing live and share some stuff with you guys. So that's always fun, and yeah, I love you too. Hey now. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to run a music video. As always, this is relevant. This is one of my original songs. I Am an Alien, which was amazing. We have a bunch of cool things that happened in the video. So we're going to run that. We'll be back, and then I'll have that Orko on. We're going to be getting into the Will Smith story, okay? And the apology specifically. We'll kind of back it up and talk a little bit about everything we've been covering, because we have been covering it. But then I think we're probably going to do kind of a deep dive with Kelis and kind of what's going on. I just, that Orko and I were starting to get into it before the show, because, that Orko in particular is very passionate about Kelis, the Neptunes, and he can explain all that. So we're going to get into all of it, but let's watch the music video and we'll be right back.
Shed your skin and come back again. A piece from whole, from saint to sin. Letting go of where you began, and be reborn in the wake of it. Peel the clothes from your naked skin. Feel at home in the place you're in. Never mind the storm, your dreams will keep you warm. To become relevant, we constantly test our innocence. May our broken halo serve as evidence. Pieces of our souls for percentages. Pieces of our souls for percentages. Holding on just to take it in, finding that comfort in strangers' grins. Wake up in places I've never been, calling home, no one's answering. How I remember when I was young, my only worry was having fun. I'll go back someday, mother, I'm on my way. To become relevant, we constantly test our innocence. May our broken halo serve as evidence. Pieces of our souls for percentages. Pieces of our souls for percentages.
Hey
love the
now.
end. I love the end. I'm like, I need a video of just like all that stuff happening at the end. It's totally my favorite. Hi, that Orko. Welcome,
What's good?
welcome.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy
Shout out
Friday.
to the community. What is
Yeah.
good?
Let me
We got,
jump into a couple of questions before we get into
yeah,
things.
let's do it.
There was a question with you as a lawyer, do you represent yourself in music matters? In a lot of them, but I am definitely not, I will call in people with specialized kind of areas if it's something that I want a little extra consultation on. And I say this to everybody. I don't care if you've been in the industry forever and you feel like you understand contracts and this and that. If you can have an extra pair of eyes on what you're doing, always a good thing. But yes, I feel comfortable representing myself on most things that I do. Guns, what is your username? Guns, Dog, and Shield. What's up? Sean, new artist, and super excited that you have put together the meat and potatoes of the music business and you are
Yes.
making this music moment amazing. Thank you very much. Oh, that's so sweet.
And you know what? If you are, I'm just using it as an opportunity, new artist, I recommend this to every new artist that
Ah.
pops into the stream. It's her book. It's called How to Keep Your Dukes Up in the Music Business. I don't want to toot her horn, but she is, 5 stars on Amazon, and you could check out the reviews for yourself. But it's the A to Z guide for real, guys. I mean, it helps you with a lot of your contracts that you need, and
Yeah, it
um,
gives you, and that's the biggest thing, guys. It's a lot of like my practical experience being an independent artist as well as an attorney, but I give you actual contracts. I think there's 8 that come with it, and these contracts are not cheap, so they come for free. So that's one of the huge bonuses of getting it. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Stop it, but don't stop. Is this lawyer singing here? Yes, I
sure
am.
is.
Welcome to my show,
Miss
where
Krystle
anything can
on
happen.
streaming.
Yes. Okay, guys. So yeah, make sure you are dropping your comments. Yes, we're seeing happy
Good.
Friday. Thank God it's
It's a big
Friday.
day, man. It's a big day. It's a big day. It's been quite the day as far as entertainment news has gone.
I know. We're not an entertainment news, outlet. I have like a segment that I dedicate at the end of the show to either it's an artist tip or it's a record label tip, but obviously a portion of what we do is we talk about kind of the big things that are going on in the news. It was hard to pick today, but we had obviously 2 huge ones.
There was, and it's funny because these two, we had other stories that were ready to go, but these two just kind of bumped everything off because, well, one of them, which we'll cover later, the Kelis story, is real close to my heart, and there's a lot of emotions that involved in that conversation. But this Will Smith thing, I think, is just pretty interesting, and I think everybody's going to have a lot of comments to say. So if you're with us on here and you are locked in with the community, please put a heart emoji on whatever platform you are. I know we're broadcasting from Facebook and YouTube, but if I can see a heart emoji from all these platforms to let us know you're locked in, you're focused, you're ready to hear what we got, and you're ready to participate in this conversation with we're going to talk about Will Smith.
Yeah, definitely heart it up. And Jay, so no, Relevant that you just saw, not a new song. It's on all music platforms. The new one that we released today is called Middle of the Night, produced by Mr. That Orko himself.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so let's get into the conversation, guys. We love your feedback. So as we're talking, let us know. And how do you like to do it? As far as like, are you into it? Whatever. Like, just give us your comments. All right, so the first one is Will Smith posted an emotional apology, and this was about the Oscar slap, and he says Chris Rock is not ready to speak with him. So I thought maybe the best way to kind of start this was to actually watch what he posted together, and then we can kind of give you a little bit of our thoughts because we have been covering this since it happened just a couple of months ago. So let's bring this on in. That breath out sounded a little nervous.
Why didn't you apologize to Chris in your acceptance speech? I was fogged out by that point. It's all fuzzy. I've reached.
Okay, so let's just talk about that super quick. So when this all transpired, Will Smith then, of course, won the award, and that was part of the question and that we were talking about. It's like, why was he allowed by the Oscars to still get up after he had assaulted someone? You know, blatantly just assaulted someone. So number one, the Oscars were like, why didn't they ask him to leave? Why wasn't he dragged off in handcuffs? Police were there, we found out. And so then he got up and he actually gave his speech. He accepted the award, and so that's what the question is driving at. So it's like, all that stuff happened. We're not going to talk about that, but why didn't you apologize to Chris at that moment? Because his acceptance speech was very emotional. If you remember, he was crying.
What do you think about his answer right there that he just kind of blurred out? Like for me, it's I don't think that he was blurred out. I mean, he knew exactly what he did and who he did it to in the moment. I mean, but you're absolutely right. The fact that we were both shocked, just the fact that he was able just to continue and sit down and get
Yeah.
up, and it's insane what transpired.
Yeah,
But
police were asked after the assault occurred. They asked Chris Rock if he wanted to press charges right then. So had he said yes, I think that he would have been Will Smith would have been escorted out by the police. Now the fact that he still wasn't, just as a general kind of like what just happened, the fact that he was allowed to kind of go and sit back down, he was in the front row, and then there was different presenters that came up. I think it was P Diddy as one of them, and he's laughing and joking and and all this stuff, and not to say
and inserting
either
himself.
way. Yeah, I mean, look, guys, we're going from this is where we're just curious about why some of these things didn't happen. We're like, well, is it because it's just Will Smith? If it was anyone else, because we're fans of Will Smith, we love
I'm
him,
I'm
but
a
did it make it
huge fan of
appropriate?
I'm a huge fan of Will Smith, and let me lay that out right now. I'm a huge fan of Will Smith, and I still am. But this is I'm talking about the issue at hand right here, and I mean, holding accountable, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know,
So
but
anyway, let's keep
continue.
watching.
Reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out. So I will.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a sec. So, Will Smith already issued an apology to Chris Rock as well as, of course, the Oscars and everyone who in attendance and all that on his social media, right? So he did this pretty quickly after the incident. So he has already apologized. And now several months later, he's like, even though Chris Rock isn't ready to talk to me, I'm still issuing this additional apology. And my initial thought is, why, I'd be kind of pissed if I was Chris Rock. Why are you
It
putting this on the radar again?
it feels to me like I told you, when we were discussing a little bit of what we were going to cover on the show, it feels like bullying to me. It feels like he's bullying Chris Rock into, saying something on the record like it's okay. Will Smith is ready to move past
Right, trying
this.
to get a response. Is that what you're
Trying to get
saying?
trying to kind of force the issue on Chris. And I mean, Will Smith just said right there, he already told his people, got back to me and said he's not ready to talk. So he's trying to force, the issue. And um I don't know about this tactic, but again, let's hear what he has to say.
Yeah, and something that you and I kind of spoke about it, on this point is you were just saying you still find, at least at this point, what he's saying to be credible. We don't feel like Will Smith's
I
being
don't
disingenuous,
Yeah, no,
right?
that's my, as we continue, that's my general feeling about everything. I don't feel like Will Smith does anything disingenuous. Like we've seen a lot of interviews with him, we've watched a lot of footage together, and like before this happened, this is just the kind of guy he is. He makes apology videos. He's always doing a lot of self-reflection. And so I think that yeah, no, I think that he's being totally genuine in this, but that's not the point. That's not the point of how
Right,
he feels. This is, Chris was the victim in this case. So
right. All right, so let's go back.
Say to you, Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk. I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I saw an interview that Chris's mother did, and that was one of the things about that moment. I just didn't realize, and I wasn't thinking, but how many people got hurt in that moment. So I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I want to apologize to Chris's family, specifically Tony Rock. You know, we had a great relationship. You know, Tony Rock was my man, and this is probably irreparable. I spent the last 3 months.
Yeah, so let's talk really, really fast. There's a couple of things, and some of you are bringing up some interesting points in the comments.
Yeah, keep your comments coming, guys. We're trying to get to them.
Yeah, so for example, on YouTube, so this apology is fake. He was partying the same night. So we did kind of address this after the fact on follow-up reports that we were doing, right? So again, not a great look because not only did he stay, he sat in the front row, he participated, he was laughing, he was being pleasant, all that stuff. After this thing had happened, that was just very awkward at best, but obviously it was a crime at worst. But in any case, afterwards, he's partying, he's dancing, you know, he has his award and this and that. It's not a good look because again, it's like, where's your head at?
Well, do you know that could be, also be, you don't know if he got that, if that was his advice, if that was the advice of Jada, who I think pulls a lot of strings. Just as far as like, just continue on with your night. You won your award. This is your night of celebration. Don't let Chris get on, don't let him bring you down. You're better than that. You shouldn't have done that. You feel bad, but just enjoy your night. We'll suffer the repercussions tomorrow. There will be. Forgetting the fact that everybody has cell phones and is filming them, getting jiggy with it in Miami on the floor with his stuff. Like, people remember, and that goes to my point that I said earlier in the stream. I don't think that he was just cloudy and forgot to apologize to Chris on stage, and because if that was the case, he would have made sure he did it the next day. It's just there's a lot of, I mean, he did give his little apology, but I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
don't
like
think
he's doing now. And one
right.
point to what he just said is, about his family and his mom and, his Chris Rock's brother, who's also a comedian, which is funny. I think that I'm afraid that people, when they see that, they're going to think that he is doing like kind of like a cheap ploy, like people are going to think that aspect is funny. Like, oh, do you really care about his mom's, what he's saying? You're apologizing to mom because you're trying to get some points for apologizing to Chris Rock's mom and showing, getting that. I believe totally that's exactly how he feels and the kind of person that he is. I don't think that, again, I don't feel like any of this apology is put on. This is not the point, though.
Yeah, right. We have to, the point is about Chris Rock and trying to make it right, right? So, I think
is this the way to go about it if you're truly trying to heal things?
Yeah, look, and not to, pick apart what he's saying because obviously there's an intent behind it. But for example, when he's saying, I just kind of forgot, I was, kind of blinded in a cloudy space and all this, it's not that he forgot or that he just didn't have clarity on that. Maybe he should apologize. In fact, that he should immediately take ownership of it, that it was inappropriate because something in him snapped, psychologically. And there's been a lot of people kind of analyzing this on what was the buildup and that this was it. This was the straw that broke the camel's back and that he didn't care. He knew that millions of people were watching. He probably knew that he was going to get arrested.
Because, he's a king of Hollywood. He's a king of Hollywood,
Yeah, and maybe there's entitlement there, right?
And that's the thing that, it's like, oh, boo-hoo for celebrities and, all that stuff. And I feel you. But it doesn't change the fact that psychologically there's a whole different kind of people that are out there that live completely different lifestyles that most of us can't even relate to. And that doesn't make them better than us. It doesn't make them worse than us. It just makes it different. And I feel like a lot of things are relative. What breaks their heart is a lot different than what breaks our hearts. But it doesn't mean that they're not still people. They don't still feel things. Just their lives are totally different. Like when you're just being catered to and you're just surrounded by yes people, and everybody that's surrounded by you has a personal interest in you because they're making money from you in some way. So they just want to keep the train going. And I don't know.
Well, and to play devil's advocate, though, I mean, you could also say, well, does he have really, a course of conduct and that he has a tendency of getting into fights? Yes, he, had a thing with like a photographer, a press guy once. But typically, this is not his mode of operation. But, take it out of this context, right? So take it out of a big spotlight. We're all watching and we're like, this is totally reprehensible. I mean, everyone can pretty much agree to that. But then there are people who will kind of go to examples of, maybe some drunk guy in a bar is harassing verbally your girl. and you get up and you're going to defend her and you punch him in his face, in a different scenario, does it make it better or right? The answer is no. It's
No,
still
but
battery, it's still assault, but I think context matters a little
I
bit.
understand the emotion of it. You know what I mean? As a human that has a loved one that feels a way, like I understand that instinct. You know what I mean? Like I understand getting into fights and I understand getting pushed too far and all that stuff. That's not even so much my argument, because it's like when you do that, you own it and then you're accountable for your actions. Like if we were in a bar or something and I got in a fight with somebody and I threw a first punch and I went up and hit somebody, I would realize when I'm in handcuffs getting walked away, like, well, yeah, I mean, I punched the guy. You know what I mean? It's more about just taking the responsibility and how nothing was done by security or anything else to protect Chris, to protect the other people that were in the audience.
Right.
What else could have
Right.
happened? Not to mention the fact that it disrupted a multi-million-dollar show that was live broadcast. There's
Yeah,
so many
or
different
some people
things.
are like, there was a big hoax. I know some of you in the chat are still saying this, right? This was just a big publicity stunt. I don't know what Will or Chris would have had to
To
gain from
gain.
this because it's a pretty embarrassing thing at best for
And
Chris
if
in
you're going on
particular.
like a whole Illuminati trip, then I mean, I can't even ride with you on that. And not to say that the Illuminati doesn't exist or anything like that. I can't go with you on that journey. But I mean, if we're talking about, especially when we're talking about the actual legal ramifications or the consequences to somebody's career afterwards, if you've followed Will Smith on something more than a superficial, I've seen Independence Day, I've watched Fresh Prince a few times, I've heard Miami, I've heard, all these songs, and you've watched interviews with him. This is how he's always been. He's never not
No,
been.
and we're gonna talk about that in a second before we get off too far. Let's go back and let's watch a little bit more of his apology.
Replaying and understanding the nuances and the complexities of what happened in that moment. And I'm not going to try to unpack all of that right now, but I can say to all of you, there is no part of me that thinks that was the right way to behave in that moment.
I believe that.
There's no part of me that thinks that's the optimal way to handle a feeling of disrespect or insults.
Yeah.
After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something?
I know this
No.
is a question we had.
It's like, I made a choice on my own from my own experiences.
But did he? Look, I'm gonna go
That might
against
be a
this a
little
little bit.
cap.
Just because, we obviously from the limited points of views that we saw, nonetheless, he was laughing at the joke, and whether it just took a second to sink in or whatever, he laughed at the joke, he looks at Jada, and then she's very upset, and then he reacts. So if you're telling me that that had no impact on
Nothing,
his
right.
decision, I'm not necessarily believing it.
Now, whether or not she said go up there and slap him, I
Right,
don't think that she
right.
did that. But to say that had no effect, I don't want to get too much into it, but I definitely have some feelings on just, my own personal kind of feelings about Jada Smith and how their relationship is handled. Not that it's any of my business what they do with their
No,
relationship.
and a lot of
but
you
they
who
put it
have
out
followed,
there.
there is some stuff about their relationship, and
I'm not trying to get into all the particulars of it, but they've always come across as the kind of couple to me that, that Will Smith takes a cue from Jada Smith. And that's always the input. That's the nicest possible way that I can kind of put it, that I care to put it on the show. But he takes a cue from her, and with all of his moves and whatever, and I think that that's the relationship that he likes to be in. That's the relationship that he chose to be in. It's none of our business to, as far as that's concerned, or what he should or shouldn't do. But I mean, for him to say that, it's not what it looked like to me, or just the history of anything that we've seen. But we were not sitting there.
yeah.
Is from my history with Chris, Jada had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, babe. I'm going to say sorry to my kids and my family for the heat that I brought on all of us. To all my fellow nominees, This is a community. It's like I won because you voted for me, and it really breaks my heart
Yeah.
to have stolen and tarnished your moment.
You're definitely distracted from it, that's for sure.
I can still see Questlove's eyes. It happened on Questlove's award, and it's like I'm sorry really isn't sufficient. What would you say to the people who
But I
looked up to
mean,
you?
in a way, sorry is not really sufficient, but obviously it is to a degree because that's what he's doing right now, right? So then what's the point of saying it and repeating the apology if it really is insufficient?
Yeah, no, and I mean, it did. He didn't mean to tarnish the movie, but I mean, if you are the producers of King Richard, you're pretty bummed out because there's no way that nobody is watching that movie in the last few months that hasn't been like, oh man, is he gonna slap him? Or just something to that effect, or it's hurt the numbers of it really did take away from the moment. But people get in the heat of the moment, and I appreciate that he apologized to Questlove and ruined his moment too. Like it, it was just it was just wrong. I mean, it was just wrong, just straight up wrong. But I
Well,
understand the
and
emotions and stuff behind it.
yeah, and then as far as some other stuff, as far as kind of more of an insight into Will Smith, he did an interview. This was released, David Letterman. I think it's on Netflix. Is that right? So we
Yeah.
were
Mhm.
watching this interview that was shot before the Oscars incident. But, Will Smith was just very vocal about just like, I've had these huge insecurities with and doing this self reflection on just feeling like I'm never good enough or I can't provide or I'm not the man. And so, again, I feel like even that provided a little insight into maybe his psychological makeup of there was something that kind of snapped and that he needed to defend Jada, whether that was something with their relationship, he needed to show her or he needed to show the world. But
Or
I think that played into it.
and then on both counts, maybe he felt that that little joke, even though it was against Jada, was a dig at him. And he talks a lot about always been having troubles being referred to as like kind of like a soft rapper, or just not hard,
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
And maybe like put on the spot with all those cameras, you're in the front row and this guy's just insulting your wife in front of a bunch of people. Like maybe there's part of it that had less to do with Jada and more to do with him. Like he felt that I don't know. There could be a million things that went on in his head. And then I saw a comment that went by. You guys, we're trying to catch all of these comments, but we are broadcasting on 4 different platforms. So we're trying to get to all your comments you can. But somebody had made a comment that the apology was as weak as the slap, and I've seen that a few times from people. And my thought on that is, I don't care if it hurt him, if it didn't. He went up there and tried to humiliate him on stage. He caused a huge disruption to the show, whether he drew blood, left a black eye or not. It was still
Yeah,
assault.
and it was humiliating. It was embarrassing. I mean, there's just no way. And look, in
And now
the
he's getting
sake of
called out. He's getting called out again right now in this video. Like, I'm apologizing. Can't we move past this? I mean, what's the problem?
well, and also we've heard interviews that Chris Rock has done, right, with like Howard Stern and talking about how he was heavily bullied. And so I think that, as far as just being kind of in a vulnerable position, just because of your life experience, I don't know how he's dealing with this. But again, if I was on his side of things and then there was yet another video and now all this attention on him, and I don't know if he's still on his tour, but it's just kind of like, I wouldn't be too happy with this.
I mean, it's just you're just always. It just my whole thing is, if you're Chris Rock, you're going to be asked about this forever. This is part of now your legacy, like no matter what. Like, and that's also to the people that think that they did this for some kind of conspiracy. For what? Like okay, Will Smith, maybe he gets that reputation. Like if he was going for, I don't want to look weak anymore. Well, he's totally contradicted that with all these apology videos and crying on stage and stuff. That totally crosses out the whole being hard by slapping some guy on stage. And then you got Chris Rock, who's the dude that got slapped by the softest rapper in the game. Now again, I'm a fan of Will Smith and I like his music. I don't think he's a soft rapper. I'm just saying that's what people are saying. um I just, it's tough. And people, we haven't even talked about Chris Rock's role. Like, did he deserve it? And all that kind of stuff. We've covered that at length on the videos. We have playlists. I'm sure I'll put that in the description if you want to follow our
Right.
coverage of this story.
Yeah, guys. So the last little piece of this, I'm not gonna play it. I just want to hit the last of your comments, and we'll move on to the next story. But the last question was just, what would you say to people who looked up to you before the slap and who have told you that you've let them down? And he just goes on to say, of course, like, I'm so sorry. That was never my intention. I know I let you down, and I look forward to basically kind of reversing the story. And then what was that piece at the very end that he says? And let me play that. So he does say something as far as the friendship with Chris Rock. Let me see if I can catch it.
Light and love and joy is shocking. So I would say to those people, I know it was confusing. I know it was shocking. But I promise you, I am deeply devoted and committed to putting light and love and joy into the world. And, if you hang on, I promise we'll be able to be friends again.
Okay, so I wouldn't necessarily take that as being directed specifically at Chris Rock. So maybe that was more just generally to the general public that's upset with him.
I'm going to refresh.
Okay. All right, guys. So let me go over to the comments here. Yeah. So I mean, what do you think? How are you feeling? A part of me is wondering if this is part of Will Smith's process. So now, as he is going to just move on because he has to move on, he can't do anything. He can't force Chris Rock to respond to him. So maybe this was part of his process, so that now he feels comfortable doing his social media again and releasing other types of content. So maybe that was just
to do so. And while I think that this is a bit of an unintentional bully kind of video because it's putting pressure on Chris Rock to do something, Will Smith also has the right to continue on with his career, and you know what I mean? And if this is the way that he feels, because he's got to, in the same way that I feel like it's possible that after the whole thing happened, when he was partying later that night, his team was like, you got to move past this, and it happened, but don't let it ruin your night. Don't let it destroy your career. Jada's telling him, don't let this destroy your career. Make another apology if you feel like you need to, and get it out there, and you have to live your life. You can't. And that's the thing, and that's important for a lot of people. As humans, we all make mistakes. And I think that we can let those mistakes define us, or we can learn from them, try to grow and move past it to the best we can. There's always going to be haters in your life, whether you are a celebrity, whether you're not, and it's your family and friends or people that you used to know. You're always going to have people that are supporting you and wishing for your downfall, and all you can do is just do the best with all the knowledge that you've gotten from your mistakes.
well said. All right, guys. So on that note, why don't we move on to the next story? Let me pull it up on my end. Ooh, this is a juicy one.
Oh boy, settle in.
Woo! Everyone, get your water. Let's reset. Kelis says she wasn't told Beyonce used her music on Beyonce's new album, Renaissance.
Hold on. Reset your thing. We're getting some glitches from your end.
Okay.
We're gonna start this guy again. Let's try this again. Oh, let's bring you in, and let's start that again.
Okay, yeah, and whatever you have playing in the background, I don't know if that's a phone or something, but make sure you turn
Yeah,
it
no,
on.
I was checking. I was making sure that it was your audio and not mine, so I was viewing it from another device, but I've turned it off.
Perfect. All right, guys, let's try this again. So, Kelis says that she wasn't told that Beyonce was going to be using her music in Beyonce's new album, Renaissance, and so we're going to watch a video and Kelis has released a couple of things, but we're going to watch this one video in particular where she just kind of goes off and she's talking about not just Beyonce, but she's going in on her, at the time, producers, Chad Hugo and Pharrell Williams of the Neptunes. And I mean, she's just kind of calling things out and alleging that, these producers stole her music. And specifically, we're talking about Milkshake, right? So, like, the most popular song most of us are familiar with Kelis. So we're gonna watch it. So it's her words, and then we're gonna discuss it because there are some legal things here and potential ramifications of what she's just actually saying happened, and whether we have to decide whether she's being truthful or not. So let me pull this up. Let me get my screen because I refreshed.
Yeah, and I'm gonna lay the preface on this one too. Everybody involved in here, like, this is like a fight in the family because Kelis is one of my favorite artists ever of all time. Chad Hugo, Pharrell Williams are my favorite producers of all time. The albums that they have created together are some of my favorite albums of all time. So this hits real close to home, and I have some definite thoughts. So
All right, let's do it.
I thought, here's the issue, okay? This is really not about Beyonce or anything else for that. The reality is, okay, and I said what I said, so still all facts, okay? But the reality is that this is
So really fast on her Instagram, she had posted a video. It was a little more open-ended, but now she gets very specific. So that's what she's saying. I have additional thoughts. So this is the additional thoughts.
the first video was sorry.
Oh, here,
Yeah,
go ahead.
the first video was more of like just venting, ranting, a little more kind of like venomous, but this is more of a breakdown of this. So now she's like, it seems like she's taken a beat for a second and she's calmed down for a second, and now she just wants to clarify in depth of what she's saying.
All right, let's go back.
more about the fact that like there's a lot of hypocrisy and there's a lot of nonsense. So we've got Pharrell, who did an interview, I think last year, talking about artists' rights and how people should be able to rework their deals and artists should be getting credit for what they've done and all this stuff. Where in reality, when I was signed to him, I had the same manager that he had, and he has writing credits on my records, okay, all my singles, coincidentally, and he never wrote a song, a lyric a day in his life, okay?
All right, so the energy right there, I mean, like I believe that this is some true passion and rage that she's feeling, but specifically to what she just said. So Pharrell didn't write a single thing. So obviously, to the extent that what he just made the beat, him and Chad just made the beat. I mean,
Well,
so
Chad in that era. Chad did a lot of the actual like productions with the drums and stuff. He was doing a lot of chords with the piano. Like Chad does a lot of lifting, heavy lifting in it. And Pharrell does a lot of melodies, phrases, catchphrases, and singing and stuff like that. Later on, he became more of just fully on producing the songs himself and do. But to go for her to say, I mean, you can find videos of Pharrell in the studio where he's literally coming up with lyrics and writing stuff on the spot. So for her to say that he's never written a lyric in his life, he's never like, it's just, it's crazy. And again, this is incredibly heartbreaking because they little bit of a backstory is Neptunes developed Kelis. They took care of the production of her first two records, of everything. Like
right, which is why this relationship, we're saying she was signed then to and I don't know if they had a label called the Neptunes. Star Trek. Okay, so they
Star
were
Trek.
Yeah, so she was signed to Star Trek, and so I'm wondering and I'm curious about what she says in this video, which is they didn't write anything. They are stealing my money. Literally, she uses the word stealing. I'm not getting paid anything. So we're gonna kind of cut this up, but I'm looking at this from, if you have a development deal, the standard industry contract is that the artist typically does get a very, very small percentage of royalties, and they only get that after the label has recouped everything and invested, right? So if you invested time on studio production, on music videos, and all this stuff, which sometimes can be in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And so, to the extent that she goes, really, it sounds like her problem is they told me one thing about what the deal is, and the actual contract I came to find later said something else, which is time and again what we hear from artists because they don't do their due diligence. They don't get an attorney.
Yeah, no, and so just before we continue with the video, just that's just the groundwork though, as far as just they. And not to take anything away from Kelis as far as her not being a contributor, I'm actually I'm shocked by all this when I first heard this. Now, again, I'm going to preface by these are like my literal favorite artists that we're talking about right now, like literally. And just over the years, I was hearing you would hear Kelis kind of have rumblings and stuff about doing interviews talking about how she her deal wasn't great and how she was told that she was going to get a certain percentage and it didn't work out. And you heard rumblings of that, but she's also taken herself out of the mainstream. So I also want to say that this video is not her. She's not like an Azalea Banks who was constantly making controversy by just releasing videos and rants and stuff. Like she's a farmer now. Like she farms, she releases music every now and again. And it's cool, but like she's more cooking. She has cooking show on Netflix. Like she's in a different lane as far as this, but she is absolutely one of the queen innovators of, especially for alternative R&B, like her whole vibe. She is a whole vibe and a style, and she's probably your favorite artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's continue with the video a little bit, and then we'll come back.
Okay, and so yeah, that's a problem. Number two, we've got Beyonce, who, like I said, out of human decency and artistry and female, just all of the stuff she sings about, all this empowerment and stuff, I don't talk about it, I am about it, okay? So the reality is, all of this female empowerment stuff, it only counts if you really do it. If you're really living it and walking the walk. Don't just talk the talk. It's real cute and fun to sing all these girls' songs. Like, come on now, let's be real, all right?
Okay, on that point,
this is where it gets
to the
ridiculous.
extent they're trying to say that she's going on Beyonce, because the question, what she's really trying to say is, I think that Beyonce or her legal team, knowing that they were taking, not a sample, okay? We didn't even say this.
It's not it's not a sample. It's the replaying. It's like the okay, so the song,
reinterpretation
it's an interpolation of the thing. There's like a little part that goes, it's not even the same melody, but goes la 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 la, like, and it's so quiet you could miss it if you sneeze. And you know, the vibe, the second half of Energy has a kind of like the milkshake kind of rhythm.
So Kelis's milkshake to Beyonce's song Energy. That's what we're talking about. And so her kind of coming at Beyonce like that, to be like, I was entitled for you to kind of step up and be like, hey, by the way, I'm going to be, you know, or my producers, by the way, the 14 people who are credited on the song Energy are going to be taking inspiration from the song. And so obviously the rights holder get paid and this and that. So she's saying Beyonce should have called her. And I don't know, you know, from a legal standpoint, the answer is there was zero requirement, because if in fact what she's saying is true, she doesn't own the music. If she doesn't own the music, then there's no obligation to anything. Now, the additional question is, she's like, I'm not getting paid anything from this song in particular, and there's more. And that's concerning to me, right? Because even in like the worst record label deal, you know, the artist will be getting pennies. So if she's saying I'm not even getting my pennies, then that's very unusual.
You know, and the thing of it is, it's like even the la la part in that is taken from it. I mean, that could just as easily been taken from another Neptune songs, because they did that on Nori songs. They did that. I think they did that on Mystical songs. But I mean, like the la 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 la. Like it's like Pharrell's been writing. Like I'm curious to see if she got writing credits on those, or if she just got paid as a feature, because Pharrell, those were all Neptune's beats. Those were all Pharrell and Chad beats. Those were, you know, I don't know, just because of just so many songs and stuff that they worked out, I have to believe that Pharrell came up with that. I could be wrong.
And even if not, right, so we go back. So the song Milkshake, she's credited as a performer. So she's not actually credited as a songwriter. And what she says is that she was promised that it was a 33-33-33 split. And she goes, that's not the case. Again, she's saying, I'm not getting paid anything. So she's saying there's no back-end royalties. And she's like, but at the time, I'm touring and I'm getting, you know, great money from my shows. And so I didn't even think about it. I wasn't even caring. And then you get some distance and you get some, you know, kind of upset feelings towards, it sounds like Pharrell in particular, although she said stuff about Chad as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
was
now
that
she has a different thought about it.
Yeah, no, she went in on Chad too. And Chad is like, if you guys know or you don't know anything about the Neptunes, Chad is the guy that's like, he likes to just kind of stay in the background. Like when NERD would tour, like he would sometimes go, sometimes not. He just wanted to hang out with his family, and he liked making beats and he liked making music, but he didn't want to be in the spotlight. That's why you saw, you know, Pharrell was always the front person. That's who you'd always see. And sometimes you would see Chad, but like you wouldn't necessarily know him unless you knew who he was. So it's just a weird energy that breaks my heart, because again, like they were family. They were like,
right. She's not done. She's not done. Let's go back.
Whole scene.
All right, and then thirdly, you want to talk about Pharrell time? Oh, 'cause I'm happy. I'd be happy too if I was stealing lots of folks' publishing and rights to songs and all kinds of stuff.
She's so pissed.
I actually really, really wouldn't be happy because it's evil. But the point is, okay, is that there's a lot of hypocrisy, and someone has to try it and bring it up, and it just so happens that I was thrown in this. This is not like I looked for it. I was actually last night, I was posting on my Bounty and Full page, just doing my own thing, and then I saw one of my fan pages, and someone was like, "Oh, this is a collaboration between B and Kelis." No, it's not a collaboration. It's called thievery, because the collaboration, the definition of collaboration, it means that we are working together.
It's called thievery. Okay, so now that's the first time she's dropped the whole "they're stealing from me." And by the way, she kind of was talking about how Pharrell's all about empowering the artist and getting rights back, and yet he's doing this X, Y, and Z. Well, I mean, it's he's following industry standard, but again,
Right.
if I was in her shoes, totally get it. I understand why she's pissed, but I'm just curious. She's using a little bit more aggressive language of "they stole from me." But even like, Kanye West, right? So he's always, we want to get the
Not
rights
trouble.
back to the artist, but he also has artists that are signed to him that he owns everything. So,
No, and I think that it's just like really tricky. And this is, and I feel like I've been sounding like I'm just really just, team Neptunes, but the thing of it is I definitely relate to what she's saying as far as just being an artist. I don't think that she is trying to be like defamatory. I don't think that she's lying even necessarily. I think this is her truth. I think this is how she feels, because again, she doesn't just do this very often. Um, and I think that I kind of agree with the point of, and I was thinking like, it's been a lot of years, and I can understand that if the Neptunes signed that industry standard kind of deal, not just the way that they were going to run, they're like, this is our artist. She gets paid on tour, but we're developing, we're writing the songs, we're doing the stuff, we're packaging. And again, not to say that she didn't have any right. I have a hard time believing that she didn't contribute. That I feel that the three-way split was pretty. I think that's exactly what it should have been, honestly, in their particular case. I think that's totally amazing. Um, but I think that as the years gone by and stuff like that, and as he's gained more success, I would have just liked, it would have warmed my heart to have heard that years later, without her calling him out, that he gave her the rights to it because he didn't
right. They
necessarily
came
use
back to the
Khalees's money.
table. I made a comment about this with Dave Chappelle, right? So in regards to his show, he made a very public declaration in a super respectful way, but he's like, I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm just going to say this is the situation. They don't want to, give me any rights back in it or give me profit participation. I was young. I was dumb. I signed a stupid contract. And he was able to get the studio to come back to the table. And then, you know what, Sean? Yeah, so as far as this is such a lesson to have super
Yeah.
specific terms for all your contracts, right? So I say this to artists. I go, artists are very like, I'm not going to get an attorney because I don't want to spend that $500 on having the contract reviewed. Okay, you're Kelis.
Right.
You didn't spend that $500 and you missed out on the millions of dollars
I don't even know if she
that your
read it.
song then made. No, exactly. And so, it's just you pay so much more by not getting an attorney to read your contract. So, very good point. But anyway, let's watch the last of this clip.
There's no working together if you are not even checking to see if everything's cool. That's a problem, okay? I would never do that to another artist. For real. I never have, I never would. Why? Because what's the point? If I like it so much, why wouldn't I just be like, yo, I really like it. Can I use it? Like, whatever. That doesn't happen, right? It's nonsense. Because some people, I don't know what they think. I
She has
really,
a
I don't
great
even care. The
voice.
point is,
I like
something
the
has to be done
talking
about
voice.
it. I'm not just going to talk about it. I'm not going to pop off all the time. I'm saying what I have to say because it's true, okay? But I do think that something needs to be done. It happens to a lot of artists. It happens all the time. And I think that really something needs to change. And this just might be the fuel that I needed to actually do it. Because honestly, I try to keep to myself and stay out of the drama. But if it keeps coming to me, what else am I going to do, right? That's all. So say what you want to say. I don't really care. Peace.
Yep. You guys
And
in the chat.
I love
let me see.
Kelis. I love Kelis. I do. I'm such a huge fan of her and her music, and I truly feel like she is an underappreciated artist. I feel like her frustrations on maybe how she is held and how many people know about her in the music industry for taking chances and paving the way for a lot of artists is I think she's justified in feeling the way that she does 100%. I would like to see them, kind of come back together. But in the whole argument of Beyonce owes me a phone call or something like that, I think is absolutely ridiculous. Like she's one, like I understand, you're like woman to woman. I don't know how tight you are. I don't know if Beyonce just gets on the phone with every like this whole album that she did is all like reinterpolations of other songs like Donna Summer and like the Giorgio Moroder song and the I Feel Love. It's just everything. There's like little bits and pieces. Big Frida. There's big bits and pieces. Show Me Love of stuff that's everywhere and so it's just kind of I don't know how common it is for the actual artist to get the other artists on the phone. I mean, I'm sure Beyonce has lawyers and people that clear her samples and clear the rights, and I'm sure a lot of it's emails, and I'm sure, but I could be also just simplifying it.
No, but as far as just industry practice, that's absolutely correct. Typically, the artists aren't doing the legwork. It's the attorneys, it's the managers. But nonetheless, I don't know the baseline. To your point, I don't know the baseline of their friendship. I don't know if there was something there. If she's just like,
Right.
just because we're females, you should have given me a call from a female empowerment thing. But let me
She's
at least say this,
she's
guys.
messing up that live performance of her being on stage with Beyonce doing the la-las in the background.
That's right. All right, so we're gonna move on to New Music Friday, but before we do that, let me just give you one last thought. As it relates to kind of industry standard for record label deals that are done in the United States, it's very common. The record label owns 100% of the music. The artist is going to get a very small percentage of royalties, something like 14 to 16% on the lower end, and that's after the record label recoups all of its expenses, which can be a lot. So that's why artists sometimes won't see dime one for a long time. And then even if they're a huge knockout, they're Taylor Swift, they're Kanye West, at some point they're upset because now all of their music is owned by the record labels. Okay, so that's like the standard deal. But there can be all shades of nuances in the contracts. And in some cases, especially in deals we do, like for example in Mexico, they don't get anything. They might get paid for a live performance, but they don't get any back end royalties. They have zero ownership. I mean, they're very aggressively unfair, in my opinion. So we'll continue to watch this one.
And Pharrell and Chad have not responded, not even since when she first brought it up in an interview years ago. They're paying no mind to it. I would like to just leave it with as a huge fan of everybody that is mentioned in this story, that I would like to see some kind of resolution. I would like them to find some kind of peace, and I'm hoping for a big show where you got NERD and you have special guest Kelis coming in and out, and maybe a big Star Trek show, and you get clips in there, and maybe some Chester French. Let's have a good time, man. Nori.
All right, let's move on to New Music Friday, and then I'm going to be giving you a special record label tip. So this is all you, that Orko. We have some great new releases.
We do have some great new releases, and let's just kick it off with Beyonce.
Beyonce.
The star of the hour. So I've actually listened to this new Renaissance record twice now. It is the first of 3 records that's coming out. I believe it's 16 tracks. It has contributions from Jay-Z, Drake, Skrillex, Grace Jones. It is fantastic. It's a fantastic record. I've listened to it twice today. It's very vibe. It's very dancey. My favorite songs on it are, I wrote them down. Thick is dope. Energy, that's the song that has the Kelis section. That song is definitely a vibe. Plastic Off the Sofa, Move, Pure, Break My Soul with that Robin S sample, or reinterpolation, like the Kelis thing. And Robin S was another artist who said, aside from Kelis, that she was not even informed that her
That's right. I think her
song was
son.
being.
Her son was like, "Hey, mom, your name's trending."
Yeah, and that's how she found out. So this is something that's kind of, happening, anyway, or it's already kind of, she's not the only one that was kind of left out, which also leads me to believe that she's not going to call everybody. But, and then Summer Renaissance, with the Donna Summer reinterpolation, it's fantastic. The record is really good. It was leaked 2 days early, and she's still, is still getting a lot of support. And there's been a lot of just seeing how well it's going to do because of the 2-day early leak. So, rooting for Beyonce. I really like the record. You should check that out for sure. Ooh, what's next? Let's see. Miss Krystle.
Stop it.
Middle.
Stop it.
Now, this is a cover song. It is a fantastic version of how do you say her name? Ellie Duhem. I don't even know how to say her name. I'm gonna be honest with you. So this song is a really cool song, and I had not even heard it before. This is a song that I produced for Miss Krystle, and Miss Krystle came to me with a piano. She had already learned how to play it. She played the piano and she sang, and she gave me this like phone kind of version of it, and then she sent me the MIDI chords, and then I kind of didn't even really listen to the song first. I kind of did the production on it just based around what she had given me, and I think it came out really cool. I listened to the song later. It's very different from the
Yeah.
original version.
And
which,
I think we're gonna play a little piece
oh
for you
yeah, let me
guys
see.
because it's our song.
Let's see how this goes. I should have had that queued up earlier. My bad. So if you know the original, this is kind of a different vibe, but she sings amazing. This is Miss Krystle's amazing. So lucky
Thank
to work with you.
you. Aw. Produced very nicely by that Orko.
And again, I didn't even hear the original song of this when she gave it to me. It was kind of like an exercise for myself. I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah. So guys, make sure you check it out. All music platforms. Just search Miss Krystle.
Yeah. And then Rosalia has a new Despacito song that just came out. It is her first single release since the Motomami record came out, which is one of my favorite records of the year. It is incredible. I love Rosalia so much. And this is just kind of it's talking about her going out and just having a crazy night out with her girls and stuff after like maybe like her lovers cheated on her, and just kind of just it means like Despacito I saw read means to like spite or to despite something. So it's kind of in that kind of vein, and it's kind of funny how she chose the song title. She was performing live at her concerts because she's been on her Motomami tour, and she asked the fans what, she gave them a choice of what the name of the song should be, and they chose with their applause, and then that's what the name of the song was.
That's how you have to do it. You guys actually chose the cover art for Middle of the Night, so I just put it out to the fans on social media, and you guys picked. So that's how you have to do it.
And fine, so check that out. Rosalia, highly recommend it. The video is cool too. I forgot to pull up the video, but we're past that now. And Charlie XCX just released Hot Girl. Now this is interesting to me because I'm not even really a fan of Charlie XCX. I used to actually not like her at all when I was first introduced to her, when she kind of first came out. I think she had like that boom clap and then other stuff. I wasn't really into her sound at all, and I saw some perform. I just wasn't into it. But I will say that I liked the last two records that she did because I like to check my new music Fridays, and over the years, and I found that I actually like Charlie XCX now. I really like this new Hot Girl song. It's from the soundtrack for Bodies, 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 which is a horror movie where a group of self-absorbed 20-somethings whose hurricane sleepover turns murderous.
Oh my
But basically
goodness.
it's basically the lyrics are just they're simple lyrics. They're just like I'm a hot girl, pop girl, rich girl, bitch girl, fast girl, catch me. It's the beat's infectious. It's just it kind of reminds me a lot of like Nadia O. I don't know if anybody has ever heard Nadia O, but just kind of just that easy kind of space cowboy kind of production. It's pretty cool. I like the song. It's a vibe. It's a bop. It's catchy. Like when you listen to it, you're like, oh, this is kind of silly, but then it's catchy. It's catchy. I like Charlie XCX now. So, but that's pretty much what I have for New Music Friday. If you have any suggestions on things that you think that we should be covering, drop it in the chat. But more importantly, drop it in the comments. I know that a lot of people are watching live with us, and then a lot of people watch afterwards. So make sure that you are dropping it in the comments. Those things stay around forever.
Yeah, we checked those out. And then also, speaking of comments, someone had said, Like, as far as do we support independent artists, that's actually the whole purpose
that's a good
of
point.
this channel. So not only the educational stuff that I put out, just giving free content to independent artists starting their own record labels, but artists that we cover are like Hobson, Elijah the Boy, Tom McDonald, Snow the Product. These are all independent artists that are kind of doing their thing and crushing it. So actually, that's exactly what we do. And if you want to support, go check out some of those music videos and just give it a like. All right, guys. So
I
thank
just
you very
wanted to
much.
say thank you
Yeah.
guys for being here. We had such a big day that I did not have, and going on, we have this sale going on with the course right now, which she's mentioned before. That's 50% off. The link is in the description to get that offer. So we weren't going to make the artist announcement today. I promise Tuesday it's going to be made. I literally just have to make it a part of a thing and make it a part of our agenda, but we're ready to go on this. We're going to be doing these artist reviews. They're going to be crazy. Everything is set up for it. It's just literally because today was so big, we just are pushing it back till Tuesday. But Tuesday, look forward to it. It's coming. We're going to be making the announcement of where you can submit your music, how you can get the help that you need as an independent artist. We're going to bring you on screen. We're going to look at your stuff. We're going to answer your questions and point you in the direction, your direct questions. So it's not like you have to watch a video and try to get a gem out of it. What do you want to know? And we will literally help you out with that. So make sure that you guys are locked in, subscribed, keep those hearts in the chat. We can see them. And thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you, that Orko. All right, guys, moving on. Let me pull this on over. So, I got a good tip for you today. So this is, again, my record label tips are for record label owners, but it's so general to music business owners and business owners, as well. So this is definitely applicable to you if you fall within that category. For today's record label tip, I'm going to be discussing how record labels distribute music. It seems like a pretty simple topic, but it's something that comes up very commonly, especially in kind of early stages of the label's growth. So first and foremost, let's talk about the music distributor. So back in the day, we used to be able to upload music to some of the platforms directly ourselves. That's not the case now. There's a gatekeeper. You have to be able to. Okay, I'm being told we're breaking up. Sorry, guys. We're refreshing. I'm refreshing. Give me one sec. There we go. We had a break-in. Hi, baby. She looks sleepy. Here. All right, hold tight. I'm going to do a quick refresh, guys. All right, let's get ourselves situated. Yes, cute kitty, that's Ripley, and Ripley, we'll probably take her in one more time to get some blood work for the vitamin D toxicity, just to make sure she's okay. But that's not for a couple of days. So far she's doing great, and she has this thing about being in the kitchen sink, and she loves chasing the water. She's like determined to catch the water, which is very cute. All right, so we're gonna start over on this. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully you can hear me now a little bit better. So for today's record label tip, we're going to be discussing how record labels distribute music. When it comes to music distribution for your artist, you want to make sure that you're picking the right partner to distribute through. The way it works these days is that you have to go through a distributor in order to get the music onto DSPs, which are the digital service providers. And, so as far as kind of setting up the relationship, you don't want to have to migrate a catalog for if you have one artist or 10 artists or 20 artists. It can be a real nightmare. So picking the right partner at the beginning is really important. But there's also, besides the music distributor, there's two other platforms that a lot of record label owners don't know about. And so they end up missing and leaving a lot of money on the table. So I'm actually going to go through those as well. But let's hit the music distributor first. From my personal experience, right, because I am a record label owner myself, as well as an independent artist, I'm going to go through 4 different distributors that are kind of make me warm and fuzzy and are well known. So starting with DistroKid. So as far as DistroKid, this is one of my favorite distributors, and I kind of decide who I'm going to work with, depending on what the release is, but DistroKid rocks. From the standpoint of a record label, as a record label, you can have unlimited releases each year, but there is an annual fee. Right now, it's $80 If you're just an artist, then it's 20, but that's a one-time fee for all of the artists that you are representing and distributing. Okay, but you are getting 100% of the royalties. And what I really like about DistroKid is that they have the ability to pay out your artists, co-writers and producers and features and all of that directly on the platform. So that means as a record label, you're not having to then go and pay everyone individually, which can be an accounting nightmare. So that's really nice and a huge, benefit not only for independent artists, but something that I particularly like. It's also very easy to use. It's quick when you're uploading music. And, it also does things like adds music to the different social media platforms. So therefore, it's in stories, your artist can promote, they can do it in reels. So that's all cool. And there's lots of different upgrades. You can, opt in from monetization on YouTube. So there's all these additional services, which are great. Okay. Moving on, number 2, CD Baby is another distributor that I actually first started with way back in the day. And for me, I don't use CD Baby quite as often anymore, but it's a good platform. They have lots of upgrades and things that they can help you with. But I have heard, as a real entertainment attorney, I work with a lot of record labels, and I have heard some complaints in regards to customer service. The actual distribution services and what they do as a company, cool, but there have been some complaints about customer service. But the rates are pretty good. It's $29 per album that you distribute as like a one-time fee. And then it's $10 for a single. You can upgrade, so it's like $70 if you want to do a pro, or what they call a CD Baby Pro. And so in which case you are getting like collections from performance rights organizations. So there are some upgrades that you can do. And then the third one is TuneCore. So TuneCore also is a very, very popular platform. For a long time, people were just kind of not loving it as much just because of the price. TuneCore was a little bit more expensive than some of its competitors, but I checked today. So as of, today, the release of this video, TuneCore is not quite as expensive as it used to be. And so I was seeing on its website, it's $15 to $30 a year if you are like an artist, and then it's $50 if you're a label. Okay, so then kind of going through what we just discussed as far as those annual fees, they're pretty competitive. All right, last but not least, and this is kind of a unique one that I want you guys to look at, because right now this is my principal distributor that I'm working with, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so Pream Digital. Pream Digital has, a $10 monthly fee that you can pay, but they offer a free option where they essentially just take a percentage of revenue. So if you don't have a lot of upfront cash, you don't want to be paying these monthly expenses or annual expenses, there is options with distributors like Pream Digital where you can go through and they'll just take a portion of revenue rather than requiring fees. And then at that point, it's just a cost benefit analysis of what makes more sense, right? You're going to lose more money by the distributor taking a fee versus you just paying something small upfront. So that's what you need to do as a record label owner to make the best decision for your company. Okay, so then moving on, other than the music distributor, because again, distributor, you upload the music, one step, have the cover art, have the song for the artist, and then the distributor will send it out to all the different music platforms. Those platforms make the money, they send the money back to the distributor dumps the money into your account. So it's actually very nice and convenient. And then if you're through, like a Pream Digital or a DistroKid, they can pay out the co-writers. And so really you're done. After you distribute, easy breezy, right? But there are 2 other platforms that people miss money. And I even made this mistake. I didn't know about it for so many years being an independent artist. And then I went and set up an account and the money was just like waiting there, which is a very nice thing. Okay, so if you want some free money, hold tight. I got that for you. But before we get to that, just a quick reminder. So for my record label course, we only have 7 spots left. Once we hit 100 students, I am going to be closing enrollment. As a real record label attorney, I build record labels every single day. What I do for clients as far as helping them to scale to 6 figures and to really the real life stuff, making money, selling catalogs for them in the millions of dollars, which we literally did in recent weeks. You only can do this if you have that legal protection, if you have the right contracts, and if you understand how this stuff works. If you don't take yourself to school To be a successful record label owner, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And you can avoid all that stuff. So that's why I put together the course. I'm at capacity with my law firm. I can't take any more record label clients, but the course provides you everything that you need. And for basically the next week, and then I'm closing enrollment for the next week, you can get the course 50% off. So it's like ridiculously reduced price. And you can check that out in the link down below. But as far as those two platforms that I was talking about, the first is Sound Exchange. Now, I'm going to be sure to post a link down for you of a video that I did more in depth explaining Sound Exchange. But what you need to remember is you have the music distributor, and then you have Sound Exchange, which collects the non-interactive streaming from platforms like Pandora, like SiriusXM, and they're going to collect the revenues for you until you come and get them, if that makes sense. So if you are distributing music and you just, forget that this is something you need to do, and then you're going to go and register, because they're going to ask for information, right? So they're going to be like, what's the ISRC code? What's the artist name? This and that. But once you register the account and you claim those songs, then you get paid. And then same thing, you connect your bank account and then you just continuously get paid for all of that catalog, the masters specifically. So that's the second platform. There's one more though, okay? So you have the music distributor that you're going to distribute through. You're going to collect the masters streaming revenue from Sound Exchange. And then finally, you have to make sure you're collecting the performance rights revenue, which is going to be, at least for the United States, the companies are BMI and ASCAP principally. So you can usually pick one, if not both, to register the music on. And that's to make sure that you get paid when the artist's music is played publicly, right? So that could be playing it, in a restaurant, on the radio, even live performances. You can actually register and be like, hey, my artist performed at this venue at this time. This is how many people were there. You get paid for that too. So don't leave money on the table. And there are services out there that will go and collect in other countries, because you can easily register at, on BMI ASCAP here in the United States. But there's a performance rights organization for basically every country in the world. And so there's a lot of money that, people leave on the table because they just don't know. So that's why I wanted to go just a little bit further and give you guys more value than just talking about how to distribute the music. But when you distribute, again, you distribute, you register on Sound Exchange, and then you're going to go and register the music on BMI or ASCAP. And for my record label clients, pro tip, a lot of them do end up registering on both platforms, BMI and ASCAP. And it's because you do have to be registered on the platform where your artist is registered. And so if you're collecting the publishing, it's a whole thing. So the easy breezy thing is just we register. I think it's like $50 on ASCAP to register there. And then on BMI, it's like $200. So you probably will end up having to register on both. But again, don't miss out. Make sure that you are collecting all the revenues that you are entitled to. All right, guys. So again, if you are looking for help, make sure you check that link down below. I am going to close enrollment to the course. I cover all this stuff because, it's the practical, in the weeds, how you get paid, and most importantly, how we scale you to 6 figures as a record label. All right, going back to the chat real fast. I was giving Ripley kisses, and I feel little hairs all over me. Alan, you are up, UK, up till 4 a.m. For those of you who are watching this at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., you know who you are. I appreciate you very much. Go get some rest. All right, guys, so we are going to close this out with one more music video, as far as kind of your activities this weekend. I hope you have a good weekend. Make sure you go and, play middle of the night. Let me know what you think. This is a cover song, but I have a new album that I'm working on with that Orko. And we have the first single. We're going to be sending it out to our mixer here in about a week or so. And I'm just itching to kind of get this next wave of music. But in the meantime, we do have the new cover for you. We'll have a new video that we're releasing for that song as well. So we're going to be watching 6 Underground, Sneaker Pimps, if you are a fan. But I think that Orko did a really cool dark pop rendition of this. So let's watch it together. I love your faces. Be sure to come say hi on social media. I'll be on Top Music Attorney and Miss Krystle this weekend. And I'll be in the chat. All right, let's go.
So far from reaching out, around here, on the ground. Watch this space, I'm open to falling from grace. Calm me down, bring around to way high off your street. I can see like nothing else in me. You're better than I wanna be. Don't think 'cause I understand. I care. Don't think 'cause I'm talking. We're friends. Hold the ground. Watch this space. I'm open to falling from grace. Don't think 'cause I understand. I care. Don't think 'cause I'm talking. We're friends. Hold the ground. Watch this space. I'm open to falling from grace. Talk me down, safe and sound.